very visually pretty.
Yeah, and the green and all of that. So, like it exceeded the expectations I had from the reading that I did for that scene. And that was the highlight of the book for me because that was very well described. Even you were feeling like, oh, like how is he going to get out? And all that. It was very nicely explained. And then in the theater, I was like, this is the scene that is going to make the film a hit or a flop. It was clearly when I read the book, at least that's what I felt. And I feel like the film elevates it. It actually does it even better than the book, that particular scene. And I'm like, this scene they've cracked, that means the film is, it's a perfect film. I was fully like, ठीक है. I have no criticism against the film whatsoever.
It was nice. I was crying.
You cry
So
too
was
much.
Parth was like, I don't ask someone.
Yeah, she never cries for anything.
I never cry for anything.
But what did you cry for in Project Hail Mary?
Lot of things. It was so that was making me cry.
I don't know if I cried. Like proper crying, I think I've done for. Is there a movie that I might? There's this K drama called 2521.
Ah.
Oh, I like heaving, sobbing fully. That had affected me very bad. Like
Parth was also weeping, but then he's like, I couldn't cry because there were young boys sitting next to me and then they would judge me. Poor thing. I was like, you should have done it. You should have taught the boys.
yeah, it'd be a good example. This book also makes you sad. It didn't make me cry, but it does make you sad in
Yeah.
many.
No,
I
I didn't cry in a sad way. I did when he's giving when he's doing the funeral of Ilukna and the other guy.
hmm. I felt
I
sad. I didn't cry, but I felt sad during many parts. His especially when you get a look into his mind when he gets displaced from Pakistan. Actually, the whole scene also where she throws the dupatta
Yeah.
from there till he reaches Paris. I feel like the whole mental block he is in, that is very very, I won't say sad, but it's very morose. Like you feel disturbed by it in a way. Like I've never really had such a great reading experience with respect to someone completely losing their identity. Like the way it's explained, मैं ना यहाँ का, मैं ना वहाँ का. There's a new country created for me, but that's not my country. I've never lived there and all of that. I felt like his mental baggage with losing his family. Oh, when the family, the house blows up. Oh,
Yeah.
was the when he goes and sees the debris and the remains of that house. That was very bad. I
and
felt.
it happens like this. Like
Yeah.
there's
Yeah.
no build up. It's just gone.
Yes. It's that was very bad. Like I felt so bad. Like don't know. And then after that, whatever happens with Firdaus, where they separate them. Firdaus's mother is just bad. Like, other characters I can still say circumstances and they will have their biases and everything. I feel Firdaus's mother is just bad.
Yeah.
Like her father is more bad. Why? No, she has no feelings or she is not involved in it. She was never involved in it. In what? Her father has encouraged her. That way you're saying. Okay. No, but that we can expect parents to do, yaar. But her mother doesn't care at all. She doesn't care. Like I don't think she cares about anyone. Kid, her daughter, nothing. She's a bad person. From maybe born only she's bad. She's just like indifferent to things. And then I like her husband though. Her husband turns out to be a
Yeah.
kind person. So she's like kind of lucky with that. But you can't end up loving a person just because they're kind if your heart is elsewhere. He just says that he's weak and he misses the country. He's from India.
Firdause's
I
husband.
Fahad.
girlfriend छोड़ हाल. Like, he also has na something वैसा कुछ तो. He has no, he doesn't. Just he misses his friends. He misses it. We don't know. Maybe he actually left the दिल्ली वाली. वो हिंदू रहेगी वहाँ पे, क्या पता.
We don't know. So I was thinking that we need like a, I don't know if a fan would do it, but a proper point of view from Firdause's this also. Like what did she do?
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting. And what happened like to her after.
Yeah,
Yeah.
after, especially after the marriage and all, it's very in glimpses that you get to know a story.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, that would be fun. I would love
then-
to Dos's artistic mind. I feel like she's just very gifted because of the things she does, like prodigy and everything. It will be very interesting to know her creative sensibilities and everything. It will be very interesting.
Just I think I told you on the first day. I can't understand how somebody can describe smells so well.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy. And I think that is what is actually hooks you in the first 30 pages.
Yes.
Like literally just grabs your attention.
Have either of you read Enid Blyton books when I was small?
Yes. I used to devour
Yeah.
them like mad.
Yeah. So they used to, like, I don't know if you've read Five Fine Daughters. It's my favorite by Enid Blyton. And in those books, they used to have tea time in the evening at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. Every book used to have it, and they used to describe what's there for tea. So it used to be like tea or whatever, and then there'd be like biscuits, and all of that. And then they used to like, describe like, okay, it was warm and it was smelling vanilla and all of that. And I used to actually feel that way when I was small. That I can smell the food that they have on the tea table. I feel like that sensational experience I've had directly in this book after that. Because there are other books also that describe food or smells and everything. Like Harry Potter used to describe food, but I used to never feel that connected with that. But this book feels like those Enid Blyton descriptions where she used to describe the smell of the food. She used to also describe the smell of like rust and everything, like whenever they used to
Yeah.
break word place.
Huh.
So this book kind of felt like that to me, and I feel like maybe Aanchal Malhotra's inspiration or like whatever she studied in terms of literature, I think she has read those kind of authors and studies those kind of. It's very reflective of a style that you can see in certain authors like Emily Bront or like Thomas Hardy and everyone, where you feel like you're in the physical setting of whatever she's describing. Uh, Firdaus and Samir are doing all this eye to eye nonsense in the class. Like you feel like you're the other student in the classroom who's like, "Haan, chal."
That's interesting.
No, but the way she describes it is really, especially that one where he starts reading out the words in that translated the dictionary, Urdu to English dictionary. That was like, you actually
I
feel like
love
you're
the sequence so
sitting there
much.
awkwardly between these two lovers.
The first time he sees her or like she's in his presence when they come to their store and he smells her like the rose and everything, the notes that he describes. That scene itself, I felt like I was watching something with a very beautifully composed montage music, like maybe like an A.R. Rahman music or something like that. I actually felt like that when I read that entire scene. I don't know, like have I watched such like any film that I can think of? I don't know, but it's the best love at first sight scene I've read in a book. It's so beautiful. And then the eyes, what does it describe the eyes as?
Pistachio colored eye.
Pistachio eyes. Pistachio eyes. So beautiful.
That whole dictionary scene was happening when I was at the garden and I was listening. I listen to soft reading music. So there's like soft piano going on in the background, and I'm in it. I was like, this is awesome.
It is very beautiful. Like I can, like, you know, she's not written the book such that it should be made into a movie. Okay, the intention is not like that because Project Hail is clearly okay. This should convert into a script kind of a book.
Yeah.
This book is a book, but it will 100% be a killer movie.
I I I I closed the book and I was like, I want to see this on screen.
Yes.
But I feel more than a movie, a series would do better
I mean,
justice to it.
the first like a
Huh.
series, but the whole thing is that book to
Yeah.
screen experience will be phenomenal with this one.
I could not, like, there was not a single scene that I was reading that I didn't picture. Like, I
Picture.
was
Yeah.
literally there. I was in it fully, and that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
I think it happened with East of Eden, and then now with this, like when you're completely in
Yes.
that.
This hardly feels like 450 pages. My mom was just saying it hardly feels like 450 pages. Like
Hmm.
they've done, I don't know. Like my experience with other 450 pages is very different, even with good books. This like just feels like you're sailing through it. I just looked at the lines I've underlined also. She writes. I'm pretty sure she works very hard to get the perfect line. Uh,
Yeah, it's
because
very
there's this one
intentional.
very intentional. There's this one line which is about who was Altaf now?
Father.
Father.
In-laws.
Firdos's father.
Father. So he's written this line. She was the keeper of her own private seasons. This
Uh-huh.
silent child who sought refuge in the solitary leaf, the oddly shaped stone, anything that shrank the vastness of the world into the periphery of her palm. Like, this can't be something she's like just going on writing. She wants it to probably, like, it probably was like 7, 8 sentences, and she was like, no, how can I make this one
Hmm.
crisp sentence that conveys everything she wants to say? Then I was like, this writer is phenomenal. She's like not, she's not competing with the other people in India.
Not at all. I don't think I've ever read any Indian author describe anything so eloquently.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think even I have marked that. What is the page number? I remember reading and I was like, wow.
There are many like these, like even for monsoon. Uh, First of all, I was again reminded that Samir means हवा का झोंका. Then I went back to
Oh
दिल
my.
दे चुके उससे पहले
And
हम दिल दे चुके सनम has a
ah,
song. झोंका हवा का झोंके. So see, there is one, but my mother claims it's because I'm a monsoon child and the smells of the world have settled into me, now inseparable. Monsoon enlivens the world, and that is what fragrance does as well. Then, if Firdausi's reserved demeanor was, in fact, a seamless translation of the frigid winter night of her birth. Like,
man,
like the metaphor, everything is like so cool, like something else.
it's too good. Was there any point you thought things were getting cheesy?
I do like all this, so I don't want to find it. No, nothing is easy.
I think
Cheesy.
that,
No. I mean, not for
I
me
think there
also.
was one instance which I can't remember. It's like, हाँ ये थोड़ा सा filmy हो गया. अति,
I feel
like
like
अति
they're
filmy. Filmy I like.
with circumstances also. I feel like my life is like very uneventful. Like there is no war happening at my doorstep. There is no dhanga happening in my society. Like हाँ आके कूद के जा रहा है. So like I feel like I have a very normal life. I think their circumstances, their caveats are far more ordinary than mine. So I think that kind of the stakes are kind of higher for them. So they're romantic. things are also going to be a lot more elevated than what I get to experience.
Yeah. Also, the era was.
Yeah. I didn't find anything cheesy though, not one thing. And I actually do find a lot of things cheesy um, when I think of it because I'm a bit of a contemporary romance in many ways. But this book, I was very like, ऐसे ही होना चाहिए kind of a thing.
I don't remember what it was now, but there was just this one thing where I felt.
Guys, one more sentence, okay? He turned around and saw her, his paradise, his decade of love, helpless, swimming in tears, collarbones jutting out, hair out of place, and head alarmingly naked without the dupatta. This is when
She throws the dupatta to him. No?
says his paradise, his decade of love. That is like something else. Yet some vital part of him would remain with the woman he loved without her even knowing that she was in possession of it. Then maybe one day, a long time from now, this part of him would gently unfurl over her skin like ether, drift into her memory, and settle there like it belonged.
Oof.
I remember loving this.
I'm like, wow. I mean, I'm someone who was raised on Javed Akhtar lyrics, so this feels like, एकदम like
Ah,
English version of
translated Javed Akhtar.
yeah. I mean, or maybe like Javed Akhtar could write a song out of this book.
Yeah,
Oh, definitely, yes.
we should ask
Even
him.
this, like this is relatable to all of us, irrespective of whether our circumstances are extraordinary or not. Home, he realized, would remain the hardest thing to unlearn. Like casually, like you're reading through a paragraph which is descriptive, and then she'll have one line like that in it.
Yeah.
It's so good a book, man. I don't know, no words can do justice to how this book made me feel.
I finished the book, and the first sentence I asked Parth was, "Do we know anybody who was separated during partition
I know
and
many
were lovers?"
my
Not
friends,
separated. They won't be able to separate.
my friend's grandmother was.
Oh,
हाँ.
okay.
So she तो like makes fun of it. हाँ, मेरी नानी का लफड़ा था.
Lafada.
But like they were educated people, so it was very common for them to like Hindu Muslim wasn't a very big thing because they were like elite over there in war. So when you're elite, then see, it's a whole thing, right? When you're elite, whatever issues you'll have with your religion won't touch you that much.
Correct.
Which is to like engage with Muslims in the context of marriage and everything. So she had a boyfriend, क्या बोलूं मैं अभी, but whatever he was, but then they had to leave. And मतलब she was also Ashik, so I can't, like both of them liked each other, no? So it was mutual. But because she left, and she was like 15 when she left, but I think उन जमाने में पता चल जाता था प्यार हुआ है कि नहीं at 15,
Yeah.
I think.
At 9 and what? 11.
No, but this is so extremely special. No? This is like beyond. It's beyond physical attraction. It's beyond what to say. Like how we try to see, okay, this parameter fitting into this parameter. This is a cosmic connection. I don't know. Maybe 1 in 1,000 couples is like that in the world.
Yes. True.
Did any of y'all consider picking up a creative hobby after reading the book?
Not really.
I got a
not a creative person. I like painting and all. I started like.
yeah.
I felt like going and smelling my perfumes and seeing if I get some.
I got a calligraphy kit.
Oh.
I got it. And then I decided to study a language also.
Yeah.
So that's also because of this book in a way.
I already had three calligraphy pens, but I'm really, really bad at it. So I did like I tried maybe 4 years back, and then I said, okay, not for me."
Remember in school we used to have handwriting competition.
Oh yeah.
I ranked first every year from first standard to 10th standard.
Wow.
So, but then
I
I
was
stopped doing it in college.
I was first from last.
My mom doesn't understand what she has written sometimes.
Yeah, same. I remember once I wrote something and I gave my cousins and they're like, तुझको डॉक्टर बनने का है क्या? Like, क्या लिखा है? Yeah, so it's calligraphy is like a far-fetched mountain for me right now. But I was very intrigued by the nakashi she's describing what Firdaus does. And then I went and I looked it up, like what it means, and there are like so many things we still get, and we don't recognize that that is the name of the art behind
Art,
it.
yeah. So many of those terms we are unaware of. Correct.
Yeah, that was quite fascinating. And we ऐसा like for me I've started recognizing prints now, like the different prints or fabrics or whatever. Earlier there was not much interest in all of this, but as you read more and more about it, you just understand that there's so much history and there's so much uh, it's so culturally bound that you're like easily enchanted by all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm someone who's always like textiles, handloom, handicraft stories, all of
Yeah.
that. So even when I wear a saree, for me, like the story of the saree, I always look it up and all of that. So in a way, I feel like, of course, like the book influenced me in many ways, but I also feel like I'm a lot like Samir and Firdaus in my own way. Uh, I almost felt seen in many ways because I studied science so that I can enjoy art in life. Uh, gives me the resources to enjoy art freely. And in this book, I just feel like they are so in touch with their emotions, both of them. They understand what is going on, and they value art. People who value art can value humanity. That's my hot take on people. And I just feel like it was nice to have lead protagonists who were so involved with creative vocations. It was very phenomenal in my eyes.
I agree. You have any questions, Soumya?
No.
What did you think of the whole his uncle's angle and his story?
Very
Because
sad.
there's a lot of history there.
Now, in many books, like and the other like World War One and three. Yeah. So we've read a lot of books, and I have also read like a lot of books which are set in war. But this is the first time I've seen World War One. And one thing that I feel like the world has done a lot of injustice to Indians for, and when I say Indians, because that time, at that point of time, Pakistan was India, is that we have been literally mutilated and been treated like, worse than animals in World War One. And uh, I feel like this book is so important in calling out how imperialism dragged us not just into World War II, which has still some like minor accounting in history, but horribly, like terribly in World War One. I feel like little is spoken about how many soldiers within the British Army were actually Indians. They wouldn't have won many wars had it not been for the Indians in their on their side. I feel gets no credit. They call it the British winning. I'm like, we exploited human resources outside of like other natural resources as well. And Vivek's story actually is the main political messaging in the book, where historically the historical fiction part of it comes out alive in many ways. So I feel like this is the best World War One story that I've read, and especially because it represents my country for the first time. um I felt like really angry at the British after reading this. Like, I feel
Imagine.
like our history, like we've studied history in school, not once does our history textbook mention just how exploited we were under the British in detail, like exactly how. The max they tell you about is like that indigo cultivation and all of that. They literally write that World War One was won by these folks. How? What was India's part in it? Never mentioned. They'll talk about Subhash Chandra Bose being a revolutionary much later, which is like 3 paragraphs at the most. But this is like so much history that we're just ignoring. I mean, why teach us Mughal for one whole year? Instead, tell us exactly what happened in the worst 2 wars of the world, right? So I felt like that in Vivek's story, one of the things that really was like struck me was the World War One part, and then the second part was of course Amrit, everything with her. That was very sad. Uncle.
I feel for him so badly when he's like, okay, now I need to escape and I can't do this. And he keeps calling himself a coward. But then I'm just like, you know what, you're okay. You're doing a good thing. Just run away. It's fine. But
Also, whose
that
war are you fighting?
yeah,
Like,
that whole guilt he has lived with for so
yeah,
many years.
it's so complicated. One is, of course, his personal suffering and everything, because it's not ideal condition when you're in a war.
Yeah.
Second, you don't know for whom you're fighting. You're not fighting for your own country for sure. So it's not like it's going to safeguard his family in the future or the future generations of his family. No. Even he's not in the need of the money or nothing. Nothing. Just from a good family as yeah. Just yeah, he's not even someone. Yeah, that is true. So I feel like that conflict has never been explored so well, uh, in any of the famous books at least. So that was really good. And also his guilt when it comes to like not accepting, not ever sharing that truth with anyone. The only reason we get to know is because Samir finds those diaries. So that part is also quite uh, like I just feel like they've explored the
It's so,
concept of masculinity very nicely.
yeah, definitely.
And then the
It's
Amrit.
it's too heavy. All of it that poor guy goes through. I mean, and then there was something else I just thought of and I forgot. Let's talk about the female characters apart from Firdaus. Who else is there? We spoke
Amrit,
about her mother. No, thank you.
his wife. I feel bad for his wife. Samir's wife. I feel bad for Samir's wife. There is
Yeah.
one part also where I've written like I've called him an asshole somewhere. I've written asshole.
Yeah, it definitely evokes that feeling.
Because
Somewhere.
she is so patient with him while he's like,
Hmm. And
Because she
she
gets it also, right? And she's
gone
someone
through.
with
Hmm.
like complex politics and history.
But that is what she still shields him from her own spiraling when he's going through those journals. And
yeah, some patience that woman has. For what, 12 years?
hmm, 12 years.
I had actually, yeah, I got it.
Huh.
The success of Silsila at the perfume shop only bolstered his belief that the separation from Leah had not been in vain, that there was something far greater, more significant, and necessary to preserve than the relationship he had discarded. I'm like, bro, at least be a little remorseful and grateful. He's like, no, it happened for the good. Such a man. At the end of the day, the best man is also a man. Like we can feel Samir's grief throughout the book. Yeah, we can feel
What?
his we can feel Samir's grief and his loss throughout the book. Like it's there in the room all the time. Whenever the story of Firdaus is written, it will not be without Samir.
Yeah. That line is there somewhere. I think I
Yeah, I
have to
just
continue
read it.
it.
Even this part, okay, because I relate to this. I feel like this book represents certain people very well, people like me at least. So there is one sentence: so many years later she could still have picked out his footsteps in a crowd.
When
Our
her father.
father walks in, huh?
There are two people in my house who walk sonically in the exact same way, my brother and my mom. So if I'm only living with my mother-in-law, I just know that she's headed to my room no matter which part of the house she is in. With my brother, it's the same. And then I was people try to describe familiarity, love, and all of these things with very, I don't know, boring things, I feel. But this is very intimate. Like, this is so, so intimate.
Yeah. And you won't even think, no?
Yeah, won't occur to you.
It will absolutely not occur. It's such a.
I think with smell also, I think all of us can know our mom's smell. Everyone. We may not recognize every like partner, sibling, all of that, but mom's smell is just it is there. Like you figure it when she's in you're in her presence. And I've actually spoken with so many people who are like my mother's age also. Even they say that about their mother. So that is also something that the book explores very nicely. Intimacy through sense.
Yeah. I can see Zoe's hand. She smelt you out. How has, like, we just spoke about the smell part also, but is there any vivid memory with smell for you guys?
My mom said mitti ki khushbu. After rain. Before rain. Before rain. Prison. Mm.
Like, I don't know what it is, but for me, every time this season starts, there is the very I don't know if it's the smell or the complete environment in itself, but I feel like it is summer holidays में जैसे feeling आता था ना when the exams used to get over
Mhm.
and summer holidays used to start. Maybe it's the smell of mangoes in the air or something. But I
Mango.
should, yeah, I
So
just feel like it's like even after my school is done, I've started working. Even today, when the climate changes that way, I just feel like, oh, now it's summer holidays.
mm.
Like I get to do nothing. That kind of, like, I go back in that
Mm.
zone. And mitti ki khushbu to always the
Mangoes का
most favorite.
mangoes का made me so my brother, once he came back from school during like March or April or something, he just stepped like one step into the house and he was like, are there mangoes in the house?
Yeah.
There were mangoes in the house. Not visible anywhere, but he was like, there are mangoes in the house. I associate smell and sounds, like these two things, with unpleasant things in my life. Like when something very disturbing has happened or something that has continued to cause me grief, there are certain sounds, and then there are certain smells that may have been very pertinent ones when they started happening, or when one incident like severe incident. And for me, those smells and those sounds are stuck with uh, an unpleasant or anxiety-inducing feeling. Like, okay, this is that.
I can agree.
No.
I mean, I relate with that because I have two instances and two particular fragrances which I associate with unpleasant times in my life. So the first one is that you get this release spray kind of things, right? To for relieving muscle pain. So I don't remember the exact brand of what it was, but that one particular brand of those sprays my grandmother used to use a lot when she was bedridden. And
Mm.
that smell, anytime I smell that smell, it instantly transports me to that room, and I'm sitting like next to her bed and trying to comfort her. And then the other smell is when I was pregnant with Zoe. um, I had horrible nausea the first 3 months, and I was living with my mom, and this hand wash in the bathroom. Oh God. Like every time I has to go vomit and then wash my hands and come out, that smell. And then later on, once she was born, and I went back to stay with my mother for like a couple of weeks or something, that hand wash she had refilled it. I told her, "Can you please change it? I don't want to smell that again ever in my life." It had such unpleasant memories associated with it.
I don't remember unpleasant memories with
There is
smells.
a talcum powder which is called Clear Tone. It's got a very nice smell. So I used to use talcum powder back in the day. Like, there was no makeup I used. There was a talcum powder. This was in college, and it actually has a very pleasant smell. But because there have been many incidents like during those years when I used it mainly in my third and fourth year of engineering. Because there were other unpleasant things that were happening for me. That clear tone talcum powder feels like something bad is going to happen now if I use it. So I have not used it since, I don't know, like 2019. I just feel very, very uncomfortable with that. And I had to use it for some reason recently because no one had any other powder. I was at my friend's wedding in November. And I kid you not, I until then I didn't even realize that I've avoided it. That day because I didn't have my makeup kit. I worn a sari and everything. I needed something to like at least blot my face. And my friend's mother, she only had talcum powder, so I took her talcum powder. And it was that talcum powder, and I actually started feeling like I didn't realize why am I feeling like something bad is going to happen, something bad, and then I realized okay, that powder is what I used to use in college. So it's supposed to be a very pleasant smell. It's a very beautiful smell, but for me, it's associated with okay, this can cause something now. Something bad will happen. I'll get a call or something. Something will happen. Yeah.
Interesting.
But
That is
there
so
is
much.
one sensory thing that is very pleasant in my thing, which is my grandmother has like the skin is like folded now, and she's got very small hands. So if my hand is this much, my ajji's hand is only this much. So for me, like her skin on the hand always makes me feel like very happy. It's like only my grandmother has this skin kind of a thing, and only she has that size. So, and that with the bangles, because my grandmother wears like bangles. So, that sensory feeling of touch.
Yeah, I remember I used to go and pinch and see
Uh,
it release,
yeah, and
and
it's
very
very halka.
fascinated.
That, yeah, so that even like the way it looks and the way it feels on my hand, that is very, and my ajji smell also. Like I know when my ajji is around by smell. So that,
Mm, nice.
Speaking of grandparents' smell, like I never knew both of my grandfathers. So like the only grandparents I had were like female, and like you said, no, the smell that you associate with them. I just realized something like when we were small and they were relatively healthier, that smell was something different. And then as they aged and you get that different kind of smell, oh my god,
yeah,
it's
that
so
shift.
difficult. Yeah, the shift, it's so drastic, and like it happens all of a sudden one day. And
My auntie has been smelling more pleasant with age.
oh, is it?
And I
Okay.
genuinely feel like a lot of stressors in her life reduced. That's why she's been smelling well. And basically, she has more time to keep up reapplying her Pond's powder in the last 10
Oh yeah.
15 years. Before that, I think she didn't reapply it. That's why she smells more pleasant now.
I associate pawns with my grandmother too.
I associate. And my grandmother brings her different pawns every time. I'm like, that is her, like how I change makeup. She once had like a sandalwood one, she got a pink one, and that day I was like, the one that you're using. And she was like, no, I tried the other one, and now this is better. That's why I went back to this. I'm like, oh, you're also catalog your talcum powder.
Pawns and the blue Nivea.
Yeah, and one more, like nail polish. The smell of nail polish
Hmm.
will forever till my death. I will only think of my aunt, my maushi, my mom's sister. Because when I was a small child, 2 years, 3 years old, and she was like in high school or college or something, and she was like the hip girl for me, right?
Yeah.
She used to polish every week, and I used to get the smell, the typical nail polish smell. Yeah, whatever Madhuri Dixit did, my aunt did. Same. Even this, how in Hammock on she does this. Aha, that. So my aunt used to do that all the time. So for me, the it girl, and she's a nail polish. So even now, when I'm not retouching my nail polish, I like, my aunt wouldn't be proud of this, and then I reapply my nail polish. My aunt will always take me back to my aunt.
That is so cool. Very cool. So, have your grandmothers ever told you all stories of when they were young and
Yeah.
when these words that are described in the
Hmm.
book?
My granny had a lot of stories of British rule and how they had it during their time. So she was in Kerala. She moved to Pune in 1948 after getting married. Till then, she was in Kerala, and over there, she used to talk about how these British people, when she was growing up, she used to see them ride in their carriages and tangas and driven by Indian laborers and all those stories. And she came from a family that was relatively well to do and educated. Her father was a doctor, her mom was a teacher, and she was also given the uh, like education that she deserved and everything. So her experiences, and then she used to share experiences of kids in her boarding school who were less fortunate, and that stark contrast you could see even then, that even though they were all under British rule, because of their circumstances in life, how everything was like slightly different for them, and for her friends it was slightly different. But yeah, it's very interesting. I was still lovely, and now I regretted that time. I was not. She passed away when I was 23, and I don't know why. I mean, I was naive back then or what, but I somehow feel I should have documented all of those stories of hers, because now when I sit back and think, I would give anything to go back and talk to her and listen to them once again.
I
Yeah.
have father stories. My grand. So I'm closer to my mom's side of the family because it's always the better side of the family. But they don't talk that much about politics and everything from my mom's side. But my dad's side is a little too invested in all this. My dad describes the emergency a lot. Like I feel like I've almost visualized the emergency. Like all this Nasbandi and all that Sanjay Gandhi did, right? You all know, right? Oh, huh. So my dad was a kid, and he
Yeah.
used to men being dragged out and everything in his village, and these people used to like run and hide, and all of this used to happen. So I've like visualized all of that, or like what used to happen during Mandal Commission. My dad has also done thoda sa like slight rebellion in his capacity and all of that. So that kind of stuff I have. I know from my father's lens more than my grandparents' lens. From my
Yeah.
grandmother, though, I think I understand less about direct politics, but I understand more about socio-politics because of the life she led. She was born in 1952. My grandmother is like relatively younger that way, so she was born in 1952, but she's finished her 10th grade and everything, despite coming from a town. So, why has she done? Because her family was well to do, and then of course they also saw a downfall, and like you see the real difference between the life my grandmother has led before the downfall and after the downfall. I felt like socio-politically the way the country was and everything, you get an understanding. Okay, India was very poor, like we were very poor, like almost until 80s or so, 90s
80s,
almost.
90s.
It is a very
90s
poor
was a poor
country.
country.
The world we are seeing as adults is dramatically different from what these folks adults. So yeah, that way socio-political understanding obviously you get of your own country because of your grandparents.
And from my mother, I understand. My grandfather used to go to Karachi for business that day. They had that big car and all. After changing, the condition was very bad.
Hmm.
Even me, people used to suffer after before independence conditions were very bad for the people.
Yeah, that is true.
Just imagine what started in this book is somehow still happening. And I feel like, huh?
Like what part in the book?
The war, the Hindu Muslim unrest, all of it.
I mean,
Like, right
I don't
as
think
the war,
this, like war and everything. I feel like India, again, India is not an active participant, much like it wasn't an active participant then also. Now the war is like when Pakistan does something and India reacts and all of that. I won't quite say India is like still warring and anything, but the Western forces still are. Like it was back then, even then they used to drag the powerless into it.
yeah.
Luckily, India is not powerless. That's why we don't get dragged into it. We're just lucky. Imagine if you and I were born on the other side of the border. We'd also be dragged into it. We're just lucky that we're born on this side. So that is there. I feel like the most pertinent thing that continues even today is that the politics of a country, even if you're not associated directly with it, distill down to you. The politics of the world distills down to you. And I always use pandemic as an example. Pandemic caused a lot of political turmoil in terms of isolation, the way your job got treated changed, everything. And these were decisions taken by people who are like way beyond you.
Yeah.
And it's politically affected you not because oh you were displaced or something. We had that basic privilege, so we were fine. But the way you interact with people, the way the nature of your job changed, the way your relationships were affected, so many things. It's very abnormal. Like very simple thing. So many college kids don't know how to interact. Like just pass out from college, they don't know how to interact with people. There are all these things that we see right now. So I feel like any political turmoil distills down to every single person in any geography. And I feel like we just don't learn in the sense that it's happened time and again, time and again, time again. We just don't learn that, people are like, there's a whole like tectonic shift in mental health and everything when something like this happens. And we keep doing the same thing. And the worst part is, I can only talk about it, you can only talk about it. We can't do anything about it. It's
Can't
way
do
beyond.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So that
That's
is
the
there.
pathetic thing.
One horrible shift that I felt when I was reading this was um the elite didn't necessarily just work towards becoming more elite.
Hmm.
Not all. I think that was a more Western mindset. Now, if you are rich, the idea is always to be more rich, get richer and richer. It is like support for arts, support for humanities, support for studying these kind of things is not it's non-existent. Like really rich people will throw their money into AI generate, like developing AI, instead of throwing money into up and coming artists who could maintain the legacy of old art forms and everything. And it's so money driven now. It's so money driven. If we talk about the arts in this book, they won't be valued today. It will be like the calligraphy piece and everything will not be valued today. So that is a crazy shift. It was better back then and it is worse now. But people are like more people are fed food now. less people are hungrier. Back in the day, the statistics of malnourished people, of hungry people, people dying of hunger was much higher. So I think that is the trade-off that we have where it wasn't planned sustainably.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting. What
I've had
else?
discussion. I've discussed this book with three people separately in the last 1 year because it's been very. I have a friend called Sanjog Wadhwani in Mumbai. He keeps 6, 7 copies of this book at all times in his house. If he sees someone who has interest in reading, he'll just give it to them because he loves this book so much. He wants everyone to experience it.
Even I had sent for Pragya.
Yeah, even my mom sent it to Pradnya auntie also.
Oh.
Like it's the best book. I don't know how to like. Now I'm going through it again, and I'm still feeling that swept by the writing in the book.
Yeah.
I have one more line, okay? Listen, because I've actually written a note for it. He would have
Huh.
distilled Firdaus's drifting laughter from the bicycle ride over to Standard Restaurant, seized the evening sky on the first day she spoke to him in the studio, taken captive the color of her eyes. He would have composed with the warmth of her breath, the feel of her skin, the movement of her hands, the fall of her hair, even the sound of her voice.
This is later, na, I think.
Yeah, this is
I
when
like.
like he when he's imagining things like
Yeah.
I think,
I love the line
oh,
where
this is
they're.
when he's going through Viveka's journals
Uh-huh.
and then he thinks of Firdaus
He's
and he's like,
reminiscing.
yeah. So that's when he says it and I'm like, oh.
But there's a line where they are actually in the restaurant and he takes her hand and he smells
Smells
it.
the.
And says, "This is my island." I was like, "Wow."
Saw that the irony that
Yeah,
she
she
doesn't
can't smell. Oh, yeah.
she had COVID from the start. She did it before it became cool.
But yeah, that was such a cruel twist to add to the
Yeah.
story, right?
Yeah.
Very cool.
But it's also about how, like, even if I feel like it's an allegory, like in the sense that
Hmm.
when you love someone,
Hmm.
it does not matter if you completely get their interest or their passion. But the fact that you're seeing happiness in the eyes of your partner for something should be enough. And in her case, it was very associated with her.
Mm.
That makes it even better. But it's just a very simple thing. And like I discussed this with Swarda many weeks ago. Like, what would you say if someone said that, your hobbies or your interests or something like that would take a backseat, should take a backseat if your partner insisted on that? Remember, I said this to you and Doita. It kind of made me think of this. Like Firdaus genuinely was like, oh, this brightens up his life. It's a critical part
Yeah.
of his life beyond his profession. So like if there is love, why would you want to shrink down something that gives someone so much happiness?
That same sentiment is shared by Leah also when she sees him working in the atelier
Yeah.
in
Mm.
grass. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Correct.
is very nice. But how do you think? I feel like even if they had gotten married, right, they would have made a very successful couple, Firdaus and Sameer. Because generally, I don't feel like that about romanticized young couples in books. But here, I feel like their sentiments also would have been balanced. I feel like
Hmm.
like intellectually, mentally, they would have been compatible. They would have figured out differences and everything.
Nice pistachio.
मेरी मम्मी का तो अलग है, बच्चों के पिस्ताचियो आइज होते हैं। I'm like, हाँ कुछ इशू हुआ तो सॉर्ट आउट कर लेंगे, पर मम्मी के बच्चे पिस्ताचियो आइज वाले पैदा होंगे।
But no, I was going to ask, like in an alternate universe, if they would have gotten a chance to run away and be together, how do you think their relationship would
If
have
they
been?
ran away, they would both carry the graves of their past in their head to some extent because they're very loving people towards their family, both of them. But I think they would have supported each other in it. They're not the kind of people who would blame each other ki, because of you I did
Yeah.
this.
Hmm.
Both of them are not like that. Sameer, for all the things that go a little grey, he's never blamed anyone or said anything like that. Even for Firdaus's own father, he doesn't villainize him in his head.
Yeah.
So that would have been fine, but they would have carried the remorse of losing their family.
One more thing, he has lost whole family.
He lost his
Oh.
entire family.
Hmm.
So I feel like they would have been fine. Like they would have made a great couple. They would have been excellent parents also. They're just so much of they're full of love, but also not irrational. Nothing that they do is actually very irrational if you think of it. So I think they would have made a very beautiful family, like literally and figuratively. Because Samir is
Yeah.
also handsome. Huh? He's described as handsome, right?
Not handsome.
Yeah.
We know it's Samir, I think.
Only her
She says he has 16 beauty spots, and then I started counting mine. I'm like, I have
She should count her husband's beauty spots. मैं खुद के देखती हूँ पहले.
yeah, because I have too many.
I have one exactly in the center. It's like exact. At least थोड़ा आगे ऐसे इधर थोड़ा. It's like this in the center.
काजल लगाया.
Now it looks fake. It's that in the center.
But it's so detailed, no? Like when you see a person, you see them that minutely to be able to like fall in love with that person. I mean, it's brilliant. Just that thought.
Yeah.
And that is what I like about the book, because she doesn't describe romance in these abstract terms and ways. She's like
Yeah.
tied it to very human traits and physical features, and actually that is what ultimately ties you down, that love that ties you down to the person, I
And
feel.
also the physical features are not a deciding factor. They're just a
Huh.
piece of information in the book.
Information.
It's like this visualizer, but it has no influence on his
Correct.
preference. Yeah, on his
Huh.
feelings.
Beauty is not described like that.
Yeah, she's not described
only
as-
pistachio your eyes are because her uncles are also there, and they have carried those oil generation.
That was also a good twist, but I knew it was coming in the beginning.
Which
When
one?
when he keeps saying no that I have seen those eyes somewhere, and then it's revealed in the journals that he knew Iqbal.
Hmm.
And then I don't think Soumya has reached that part yet, but something very interesting happens. So keep reading.
There is one part where Firdaus is going through like her thoughts and everything. This is when she's married and everything. And then she says, but as the years passed, that wish dimmed, for by his side she learned that there were many kinds of love. Now, this is my line. This is the line that I liked. That it was possible to entrust a part of her heart to the past and still have enough to offer to another in the present.
I read this just this morning. It was so beautiful.
So beautiful. This was so like this
Too good.
this book
I
is
also
so
love that somehow the grandchildren are like the torchbearers at the end.
Hmm.
Like now they also have taken care of their grandparents for a long time, and then now it's like, okay, now we have to like take this wherever they want to take it. So that was also what I was thinking of.
Hmm.
If it had to have a sequel, like what would they do and how would they like honor them and all of that.
I don't think that story would be interesting. Like the era they are in, right? The decade they are in. It just see up until here, you can actually say things like everyone was dealt a bad hand. Okay,
Yeah.
like there's no difference. Like okay, the Pakistani side, the Hindustani side, and everything. The decade where these folks reach, right? You start looking at it from the lens of an Indian also. Okay, and the atrocities of the West on us, of Pakistanis on us, they will start featuring into your narrative. Even if you try not to, it will feature into your narrative. And so many things, they might even try to explain it from the lens of humanity, but then when said component is killing humanity and all of that, it won't feel right to us to like that sense of empathy will dissipate is what I feel. So I don't think a story like that would be great. But for their like, suppose they become people who are like NR, like she's an NRI. No, there's no NRI here. There's no Indian, right? Like on passport, there's no Indian. But
No.
he becomes a person who's settled in France and everything. Then it will become a story of Asians surviving in France or something like that, which is not what this whole book is about. It's not necessarily about immigration and all of that, but that
Yeah,
will become the case of that then.
nice. Any more lines? Anything you want to share?
There's one, see. Um, how time and circumstance stretch us to live multiple lives, sometimes simultaneously, sometimes without choice.
Mm.
I was like, wow. Because Firdaus is literally leading dual lives in a way, because a part of her mind is, and nobody knows about it. At least in Samir's case, his wife knows about.
Yeah.
So that, and I think that is the case with women. You'll never know the whole story of a woman in most cases. So that was also something very nice. That's why I like that, to your point, Firdaus's story will be very interesting because it's going to be so internal also.
Mm. Right one.
Right on. Like this, see how nicely she's written the book. Like think of the best books you've written, you've read. Okay, so think of the best books, and then compare the prose of your favorite books with the prose in her book. It's like she's in a league of her own.
Yeah.
Like I like books like Sense of an Ending and everything a lot, but then when I read her writing is phenomenal. Like it's something else. I don't know how to put it in words. May she'll only be able to put it in words.
No, but I don't think you can compare this kind of writing with anything. It's so unique and so beautiful.
Hmm.
Like it has its own place in your shelf or wherever.
Hmm.
It's too good. Like I should really thank you for pushing us to read this book.
Yes,
I don't think
definitely.
I would have read it otherwise.
So one thing that I keep telling that we enjoy a lot of Indian books, like Indian origin or Indian author books,
Hmm.
but then like all of these people, Chitra Banerjee, Alka Joshi, all of these people, those are look they're one side. Aanchal Malhotra doesn't really fit in that
No.
category
No,
of
she doesn't.
authors. She's got like very good command on her writing, uh, leagues apart in many ways.
See, Alka Joshi is also good, but for different reasons.
I feel like it's
Her
more plot driven. कि चल something is going to happen every 50 pages.
very story driven.
हाँ,
But
very
as
हाँ. But her writing and all is like ठीक है मतलब descriptive writing. Her writing is like even just sitting with a disturbing thought is made poetic,
yeah,
and I think that is like that's like John Steinbeck, uh, the way he writes, or even like Jane Austen for that matter. These people, they use the writing craft not just for taking the story forward, but also like for like okay, their every sentence is like perfect. Like Anjal Malhotra, like even with a poor story, I think she'll be able to write it nicely.
yeah.
ಒಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಒಂದು ಬುಕ್ಕದ ಮೂವಿ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಐತಲ್ಲ ದೊಡ್ಡ ಫಾಸ್ಟ್ ಇಷ್ಟೊಳಗೆ ಹಾಕಿರ್ತೈತಿ ಆದ್ರೆ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಎವ್ರಿ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಕವರ್ ಮಾಡಂಗ
Yeah, so yeah, like I think that's like editing. Like in this, if you adapt it and if you miss something, even what is internal, it won't do justice to the story. Which is why adapting this book is actually very difficult, because she's done a very great job in showing internal struggle. But it's not in a way which is like, chal raha hai, chal raha hai, chal raha hai. That is also beautiful. But how you
Yeah.
want to show it on screen, which then makes it an exclusive medium, right? You've cracked it in a way where the reader is visualizing it, but not necessarily in the form of a movie or a TV series or whatever. That is also a skill that is, I feel like, very unique. Where sometimes I feel like book can only be a book because it will definitely get more than harmed in the process of an adaptation. So
Agreed.
very, I want to meet her once at least in my life. Do you all follow her on Instagram? I haven't met Aanchal Malhotra.
I thought you did. Who? Somebody met Aanchal Malhotra.
No, they had like she's been on virtual calls and all. I've attended one virtual call with her, but
Huh.
not met her in person. Do you follow her on Instagram? You all should.
I don't think so.
Insanely good Instagram account. Like her updates are also like it just makes sense. She wrote this book.
I think
She
I'll
put like
follow her.
architectural designs, sculpture designs, fabric details, uh, all of that. Like even the way she dresses and everything. I wouldn't
Huh.
imagine the author of this book to be anything else.
Oh yeah, I have seen a few. Like I didn't watch the videos, but I wanted to listen to her speak about the book. So I searched on YouTube, and just those thumbnails from that only, like she fits perfectly as the author of the book, like you mentioned. Like the way she dresses, she styles herself and all. It's like
Yeah. Now she's got short hair,
okay.
which is like
Yeah.
this much, and that the bob, the way she carries it is beautiful. Also, she dresses a little like Pakistani women, in many ways. I mean, she is a Delhi person. Uh, Plus, she has family in Pakistan, and her family is huge. Like in Delhi, it's huge. And to a large extent, Vivek's story is influenced or like is inspired. Like her own family members have inspired Vivek's story.
Oh.
Yeah. And even her house is called something like Bridge Bhavan only. Like
Bridge
her,
Bhavan, their home is
their
Bridge
family,
Bhavan.
they have a big house in Delhi, which is like, they say
दिल्ली या
floor,
some
floor.
शिमला में
No,
Bridge
no,
Bhavan
Delhi
है,
नहीं है,
मैं
Delhi
Bridge
में है.
Bhavan.
It's like floor ऐसे बड़ा हो गया है, वो अभी बहुत बड़ा घर है. And it's called Bridge Bhavan.
Wow.
Yeah. And
She's
they run
quite
Bari.
young.
I
She's
think
just
she's 36,
looking photo
36.
to be.
Let's see what age, what is her age? Aanchal
Not
Malhotra.
36 in Jan is what I saw on a post just now.
1990, yeah. So
Wow.
she's quite young.
Shame on us.
Shame on us.
Nobody knows about her personal life, I've done that much chugli now to like, is there a partner somewhere and everything? And I found nothing. And
Wow.
she runs a museum also.
Where in Delhi?
Yeah, yeah. So it's like about like war history kind of thing. What it's called something, I'll tell you. Museum of Museum of Material Memory.
Material memory. Yeah.
Oh
Just
wow.
opened up her Instagram page. It's beautiful.
I told you, right? she is like she is something like I love seeing her post, and she's also responded to my messages. She's responded to my messages 3 times. She's responded to a comment I made on a post. She's responded 2 comments on her posts. And like I wrote a big thing, she responded with a big thing.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, she is that like I'm assuming if she sees something coming from the heart and if she has the time, she generally responds to it. And she also took a look at the playlist. So I had posted a playlist. I have a playlist just for this book. Okay. And a lot of the lyrics when you listen to it, especially Mohabhang, is like perfectly like lyrically and with the mood suited for this book. She went to the playlist and she said that the songs are like they actually fit the story.
Oh.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Can you
So I
share
I was
was
the
actually
playlist
thinking of
with us?
emailing her.
yeah, I can share. I'll share it on the group.
Huh.
Yeah, share it on the group. I was actually thinking of emailing her and inviting her for this, like at least for a part of the meet. But then I was like, if nobody is reading it, then what?
Yeah,
People
that makes sense.
join us.
And she's like big also. Like she's
Yeah.
established, like big author in India now. So I can imagine. She came for that guys now. Who is what is his name? I forgot. The bookworm. He made the
Shubham
real project
Saket.
we made.
Saket Shubham. Who?
Ha.
Shubham only, na? What's his name?
Saket. So he had invited her.
Saket. Shubham Saket. Correct, I said.
So everyone I know in Bombay in the book clubs I like, everybody listens to this playlist now.
Send. We will also listen to it.
I think I'll read the book again.
Oh, it's on Spotify. I don't have Spotify anymore.
You can listen on with
YouTube.
ads. I also started listening to Slovenic dances because of Book of Everlasting Things, because they listen to Slovenic dances.
I was just going to look that up once I completed the book.
All the there's a whole part where she's written about musicians also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A lot of different musicians.
सबको जाके
So,
discover कर.
Arita, last year in all the silent reading that I've done in the park, right? For all of the monsoon and all of summer season last year, I've only listened to Slovenic dances in the park. So for me, that music has also started, like I started associating Joggers Park with Slovenic dances now. Because I read the book in April, first week of April. And then from then on, I started listening to that Slovenic dances, like the song on Spotify on repeat. And almost till it stopped raining, I almost until then I've listened to that song.
Oh, you have a
Like-
Veer Zara song on the playlist. This was
Yes.
the first thing that I associated the book with.
Now music like ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ ನನಗೂ ಬರೀ ಹಾಡು ಬರಕತ್ತದೆ ಸರ್.
There are many actually, even the Parinita songs, like Teri Meri Baatein and all, like they all really match. Rehna Tu. So Rehna Tu, if you all know, is a song that's written for Delhi. It's not written for a love interest,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Delhi 6. So, thoda sa meetha, thoda sa ye वगैरह, is describing Delhi in that. And whenever I was reading through the description of Lahore in the book, Rehna Tu kept occurring to me because he literally speaks about, like the characters speak about Lahore like a person. And then I was like, oh, we have a song for this.
Yeah.
I searched
Even
Lahore
Samir tells his mother
and all.
when she says, "Why don't you come with me?" Samir is like, "No, this is my city," and he's like so attached to
Yeah,
Lahore.
understandable. I mean, I'm not, but I get it when others are.
Chalo, nice. Anything more to say?
I always have a lot to say, but I can always bug you later on also about this book. I have a lot to say.
I think Samir should finish and tell on the group what you
Yeah.
felt about.
I will. It's beautiful. It's just
It gives
beautiful.
that feeling. I have drawn smileys and all at some places, like hearts and faces.
This is a book we can revisit. Like,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful revisit, no matter how much we read it.
Really nice. Okay, next month also is a book I think you've recommended,
Yes.
Happening.
Happening.
Oh, Annie or no? Yeah. Yeah, we have the almost her entire set in our house. So that
Nice.
is That will be interesting. Tell everyone to read it, and even most of your book club is women. That is about the journey of an abortion
Okay.
in the 50s, and it's a real story. Like, it's from her diaries. It's non-fiction.
It's
So yeah,
it's our
so
first non-fiction
yes, it's your first.
ever.
Yeah.
It's a Nobel Prize winner.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think there's a lot to talk about with that book. It's tiny.
Perfect.
Yes. Perfect. Chalo. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Namrata,
Thank you.
for
Genuinely
introducing us
thank
to this
you. Yeah.
beautiful book, which I will
Yes,
never ever forget.
me too, and we won't forget.
Let's take a picture.
Oh, 1 minute.
Who's taking? Wait, I want to take a video also.
Okay.
I don't know what I do with these videos, but they're there. Where is your book?
Is it like, how do I change this? Flip.
I can see. It's
Right, left side.
No, no, that's not.
Okay.
Okay, now picture. Who's can